Hi everybody, my name is Maya and I'm back to talk about more books, specifically about the 26 books I want to read in 2026, which are a lot of books. I've never done like a yearly TBR, but I'm very excited to sort of have a set number of books that I really want to keep my focus on next year, finally want to get to, because a lot of these have been set on my shelves for a long time. I've got like 2 stacks of books right here next to me, and then a few that I don't own physically, but I just want to get to. So I think we can just get into the books. The first book that I want to read is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. And I don't really know much about this book. I know that we follow Elizabeth Zott, a chemist from the 1960s. And basically that's all I know. I know that like she does some things that people aren't too happy with. And I feel like it's going to talk a lot about gender in the 1960s, specifically women in like scientific and male-dominated fields. And I know people loved this like a few years back, so I really want to read this. The second book that I want to read, I got in Berlin, and it's called In Defense of Witches, Why Women Are Still on Trial by Mona Chollet. It's a nonfiction. I rarely ever read nonfiction, which I also want to change next year. But I think this is going to be a really, really cool like exploration of like the witch metaphor, the witch image, and gender, and like the unnatural that is often like associated with women. Basically what it says in the back is that taking 3 archetypes from historic witch hunts: independent women, women who avoid having children, and women who embrace aging, Chollet examines how women today have the same charges leveled against them. She calls for justice in healthcare, challenging the gender imbalance in science, and questioning why female bodies must still be controlled by men. I think this is going to be so good, and I truly am so interested in like the witch as a metaphor and as an image. So this is going to be really good, I think. The next book that I want to read is Before the Queen Falls Asleep by Husama Habayeb. I can just read the back to tell you what it's about. Born a girl to parents who expected a boy, Jihad grows up treated like the eldest son, wearing boys' clothing and sharing the financial burden of head of the household with her father. Now middle-aged, Jihad tells her daughter a story from her life each night. As Malika prepares to leave home to attend university abroad, her mother revisits the past of their Palestinian family, tenderly describing their life in exile in Kuwait and her own experiences of love and loss as she grows up. Husama Habayeb weaves a richly observed and affectionate portrait of a family displaced from their homeland and of the women at its heart. This sounds so incredible, so heartbreaking, but so just, yeah, as it said on the back here, just so tender and like beautiful in a way, but also I'm sure a lot of very heavy topics are dealt with in this book. But I'm really looking forward to reading this. I've read like 2 pages of it so far, and the writing, it was so good already. Like I feel like the writing in this is gonna be amazing and just blow me away. So I wouldn't be surprised if this would be like one of the best books that I read next year. The next book that I want to read, it's time next year for me to read A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. It's time. This has been on my shelves for 5 years now, I'm sure. And at this point, I just need to read this. I'm scared, and I'm sure you all know why, because this is a sad fucking book. This is like probably the saddest book in existence from what everybody says ever. I can read you the little synopsis. When 4 classmates from a small Massachusetts college moved to New York to make their way, they're broke, adrift, and buoyed? I don't know that word. Only by their friendship and ambition. There is kind, handsome William, an aspiring actor, JB, a quick-witted, sometimes cruel painter pursuing fame in the art world, Malcolm, a frustrated architect and at a prominent firm, and withdrawn, brilliant, enigmatic Jude, who serves as their center of gravity. And then we follow just their relationships and their friendships throughout, I think, years and years, and basically follow their lives in New York. And yeah, I'm not ready, and this is also huge, but it's time. It's time for me to read this. So it's gonna happen next year. The next book that I want to read is Babylon Albion by Dalia Al-Dujaili. It says right here, a personal history of myth and migration. Firstly, look at this cover. I love this cover. This caught my eye. I got this in London in a bookstore, and it caught my eye because I love the cover. But I can read you the little synopsis. And I found out the other day, because I haven't read it yet, but I found out it's signed. Exciting. But basically, let me read you the little synopsis. Whoever said nature is still has not borne witness to the migration of the seasons. Come on. In this lyrical enquiry, Dalia Al-Dujaili considers what it means to belong in your land. She traces the rich heritage of the earth beneath our feet and the wildlife that call it home. From the oak tree and date palm to fairy tale creatures such as dragons, unicorns, and the ancient Lamassu. Weaving together Arab and Islamic mythology with the English and Christian pastoral, Al-Dujaili unmasks the communal, lush, familiar, and at times dark places we share. A love song to Britain, Iraq, and the body of earth we hold in common, Babylon Albion is a compelling reimagining of what it means to be native. This sounds so good. This sounds like it's gonna absolutely just grab me, never let me go. And I don't know if I want it to let me go, honestly. I think that first sentence is already incredible. So I think this is gonna be, again, a top read of the year for me. The next book that I want to read is Dear Dickhead by Despentes. I don't know the first name, it doesn't say in here. And I got this as a gift and was highly recommended to me, so I really can't wait to read it. But we follow a few characters in here, and basically it says, a novel of rage, irreverence, and vulnerability, Dear Dickhead is an excoriating encapsulation of our times and of the broken human beings trying to make sense of them. And I rarely ever read full-on contemporary books like these, but I really want to. I feel like I don't do it enough. So yeah, I can't wait to read it. Then we have Homegoing by Yagi Yazi. This has been on my shelves for years now. Again, I was supposed to read this for a class in university. I never did. And I regretted it a lot because I think this is incredible. Basically, we follow two sisters, Effia and Essie, and one is sold into slavery and one is a slave trader's wife. And then we follow their families, I think, throughout different generations and spanning continents and generations. Yagi Yazi has written a miraculous novel, an intense, heartbreaking story of one family and through their lives, the story of America itself. Sounds absolutely heart-wrenching and gutting, but I think so important, and I'm sure it's an incredible book. The next book that I want to read is the most recent Murakami book, which is The City and Its Uncertain Walls. Firstly, look at this cover. Love it. I got this as a gift again, and the thing about me, I love Murakami. I know he has really problematic views regarding women, and he writes about them a lot. But the thing is, the way he crafts his worlds and his works and the way he writes is something I don't think I've ever read before. And engaging critically with them and sort of conscious of the ways that he writes about women, and I can still read them while keeping that in mind. And so I think this is gonna be great again. Basically, when a young man's girlfriend vanishes, he sets his heart on finding the imaginary city where her true self lives. His search will lead him to take a job in a remote library with mysteries of its own. When he finally makes it to the city, he finds his beloved working in a different library, a dream library. But she has no memory of their life together, and as the lines between reality and fantasy start to blur, he must decide what he's willing to lose. I mean, this sounds so good, and I just love everything that Murakami writes. So I'm really, really excited for this one. The next book is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Look at this edition. It is so beautiful. This is it's a classic. And I read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, loved it. I love myself a good classic. And so I really want to read it next year because I've been sitting on this one for a while as well. The next book that I really want to read is The Marrow Thieves by Sherry DeMarlene. And again, I was supposed to read this for university and I didn't. And again, I regret it because when everybody talked about it, it sounded really fucking interesting. But it's been 2 years as well. Just when you think you have nothing left to lose, they come for your dreams. Humanity has nearly destroyed the world through global warming, and now an even greater evil lurks. The indigenous people of North America are being hunted and harvested for their bone marrow, which carries the key to recovering something the rest of the population has lost: the ability to dream. In this dark world, Frenchie and his companions struggle to survive as they make their way up north to the old lands. For now, survival means staying hidden, but what they don't know is that one of them holds the secret to defeating the Marrow Thieves. This just sounds so great, and so, again, important to read, heartbreaking, and just metaphorical for everything going on in the world right now, probably. Then another classic, or is it a modern classic? Yeah, it's a modern classic, is Nightwood by Djuna Barnes. I got this in Paris at Shakespeare and Company. And again, this is just a book that I haven't read for a long while. We follow a cast of characters in Paris in the 1920s. One of the earliest novels to explicitly portray homosexuality. The influence of Djuna Barnes' novel has been and continues to be exceptional. Yeah, and I think this is gonna be great. I tried reading this last year or the year before, and it was really difficult to read. Like, I feel like modern classics usually are, but I'm sure this is gonna be really, really good. And yeah, I can't wait to read it. Then we continue with Ein weißes Land, which is basically translated into a white country or a white land, by Sherko Fatah. This is just, I don't even know, I must have gotten this like out of one of the free little libraries around town. And this is a German novel. We follow Anwar, who lives in Baghdad in the 1930s, I think. And then we follow him when he comes to Berlin in the 1940s, I think. So a very like tense and bad time in Europe, specifically in Germany as well. I don't know anything about this, nothing actually, so, but I want to read it. Next one is Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. Look at this edition again. I got this in London again, and this is beautiful. Anne of Green Gables, we follow Anne. She's like a very wild-spirited child. She doesn't conform to like society's expectations of a child, specifically a girl. I don't even know when this takes place, but people love this story. I've never read it, and I think this is the perfect book for spring. I'm sure it is, and just like the wonders of the world through the eyes of a child. Then the next book that I want to read is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. I read my first Barbara Kingsolver this year. It was Prodigal Summer, and it was so good. It was so good. And I really want to read this one, we follow Demon, basically, who's a boy who grows up in the US, and then we follow him throughout his life. It talks a lot about poverty and addiction. It says here, suffused with truth, anger, and compassion, Demon Copperhead is an epic tale of love, loss, and everything in between. And I'm sure that it is, because I trust Barbara Kingsolver to write a good story. Like, I know this is gonna like hit hard and be, I'm sure it's gonna be amazing. And it won the Women's Prize for Fiction in 2023, which is really cool. So I can't wait to read this as well. And then the last physical book that I want to read, yeah, it's huge. It is. And it's The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. As you can see, I tried reading this before I got like to page 80. I just stopped. It was too much of a commitment. But we follow a few characters in here, and we have this like, this is like high epic fantasy, and we have this world, and I think there's dragon riders and probably a whole lot going on. Here it says, blending politics with high adventure and the epic with the intimate, the narrative builds like a tidal wave before sweeping towards an awesome climactic finale. And I mean, people love this book. I want to love this book. I love the cover, but I want to love the book, and I can't wait to read it. I think it's gonna be so good. But yeah, it's a lot of pages. And now onto the books that I don't own physically. I've written them down like in my little notebook here. The first one is Sisters in Yellow by Mieko Kawakami, which comes out in March. The German translation is already out, I know, because my boyfriend has read it. And we actually went to a reading by Mieko Kawakami, which was incredible. But I want to read it in English. Maybe I can compare it to the German translation. But I think it's gonna be good. Basically, we follow a group of friends that fight for freedom, independence, and survival in Tokyo in the 1990s. And it said on Goodreads, I think, that it's like a vivid portrait of matriarchy of Tokyo nightlife and its adjacent criminal underclasses. So I think it's just gonna explore a lot of like class issues, gender issues, just this fight for survival in Tokyo. I've read 2 Mieko Kawakami books so far, Breasts and Eggs and All the Lovers in the Night, both incredible. Then, oh yeah, I want to read, of course, I will read Deadbeat by Leigh Bardugo, which is the next book in the Ninth House series. I love Ninth House. I love the second book, Hellbent. I read both of these this year, and I love the series. We follow Alex, who goes to Yale, and there's these secret societies that perform like magical rituals, and we sort of follow her like trying to break power structures, but like we see these old institutions and like powerful houses just have this much power, basically, that just nothing ever really changes. And it's so good. It's so good. It has this like dark academia gothic vibe to it because it's set at Yale and these like secret societies and everything. And it's dark. It's really, really, really dark at times. But I absolutely love it. And it comes out in August, which will mean that I'll have to wait a while, but I can't wait. The next book that I really want to read is the second part of the Vicious series by V.E. Schwab, which is called Vengeful. I read Vicious probably also like a few years back. Never continued the series. I don't know why. It just, if I don't have the book, I just won't do it, which is so stupid. But basically in the first book, we follow Victor and Eli. And in college, they were roommates and sort of played around with these like supernatural possibilities. And then 10 years later, they are these like rivals and they basically want to kill each other. But also you're like, are you in love? But yeah, that's the first book. Maybe I'll reread the first one because I haven't read it in a while, but I really want to continue because I loved it. It was so much fun. The next book that I want to read is On Earth We Are Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. I have not read an Ocean Vuong book yet, and I don't know what's wrong with me because this man, he's everywhere and I want to read his books. And basically this book, I'm sure you know of it because it's so popular, but it's a letter from a son to a mother who can't read, and basically it's just an exploration of race, class and masculinity, and then woven into this like mother-son relationship and the history of their family and everything. I'm sure it's incredible. I'm sure it's absolutely heart-wrenching and will destroy me. Then I want to read The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This is just because I haven't read it and it's a must read. It is. It's a dystopian book, a dystopian classic at this point. And also that's all I really know about it. I don't know anything. I've never watched, like, I think there's a TV show or a series for it, and I'm sure a lot of like discussions regarding it and maybe like adaptations of some sort. I've never engaged with any of that. I don't know anything about this book basically, except for like, no, actually I know nothing. So, and I don't want to really spoil myself, but I'm sure you know the book, so I really want to read it because it's time. It's time. Then the next one is This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Mottar. Firstly, I love the cover and the title of this book, and I've seen it everywhere, and I feel like this would be a perfect book for me. I really know very little about it. I know that there's like a war going on and there's like an unlikely correspondence between two rival agents hell-bent on securing the best possible future for their warring factions. That's all I know, and I think they maybe like fall in love. I think they fall in love. Yeah, I'm sure this book will rip my heart out and then stomp on it a bunch of times and then kick it a few times maybe. Can't wait. The next book that I want to read is Butter by Asako Yuzuki. Basically, this follows a female gourmet cook and serial killer and the journalist intent on cracking her case. And this is inspired by a true story, which I just found out. Again, my boyfriend read this book and he really liked it, so I'm sure it's gonna be good because I love Japanese literature, and this sounds weird and strange and fever dreamy. Perfect. Love it. The next book that I want to read is Stoner by John Williams. This is basically a man who goes to university, falls in love with English literature, and then embraces a scholar's life. Okay, yes please. This is basically me reading about someone who just loves books. I mean, I think we follow his life and it's pretty depressing after that, which isn't too great. But I'm really looking forward to the literature part, so I think that's gonna be good. But yeah, no, I feel like this is basically the book for me. The next one is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This is basically queer vampires throughout the centuries, is what I wrote down. Queer/sapphic vampires throughout history, more specifically. That's all I wrote, and that's all I need to know. So that's all I really need. I'm sure it's like sort of similar to the The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue, which I loved. So, I mean, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be incredible, I'm sure. Then the next book that I want to read is Heavenly Bodies by Imani Eriu. I've heard so much about this book in like the past few months. And I love myself a good, like, literally star-crossed lovers kind of story. Enemies to lovers, yes. Basically, it's said on Goodreads that it blends Greek mythology and shadow magic. And there's a prophecy which promises for our female main character, to fall in love with a star, which I think is like, I think the stars are like gods. And then that will kill them both. So I think the star or the god kind of wants to kill her so that it will not, like, she will not kill them both. and she wants to kill him, and it's like enemies to lovers. It sounds good. It sounds like a great time, honestly. So I really want to read it. And then the last book, oh my god, this is a long list. The last book that I want to read is Beartown by Fredrik Backman. If you follow any like book trends or like any book recommendations, you will know that people love this man, love him. And I want to as well. I really want to. I just haven't read anything by him. So Beartown basically explores the hopes that bring a small community together, the secrets that tear it apart, and the courage that it takes for an individual to go against the grain. I think basically we follow the small town whose like hockey team will play in the semi-nationals of whatever, I don't know, sports, and then shit happens, honestly. I think, again, extremely difficult, extremely dark at times, and so good, I'm sure, because people love this. Like, they love this man and the series as well. So I really can't wait to read it and to just get into it and to, yeah, get into the discussions of this book. So yeah, those are all the books that I want to read next year, at least that I want to focus on and prioritize. It's a lot of books, and it's a lot of very big books and difficult books, but I think it's going to be good. I think these books are going to be incredible. Yeah, so maybe you got a recommendation out of this. I hope so. If you didn't, I don't mind. But yeah, I can't wait to yap about these books in the next year when I read them. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed my little TBR for next year, and I'll see you, yeah, next year probably. Bye bye.